Hey guys, welcome to the Verified AMA. I'm your host, Lawton Ho, here with Verified Investing, and I go live every single day that the markets are open from, you guessed it, 12:30 to 1:15 to answer your questions. I hope all of you guys are doing well, doing splendid. It's an okay day here at the Verified Investing headquarters. We're in in a trade right now, but so far we've closed out two awesome trades in the live day trading room. I took a nice winner on SOXS as always, and Drew took a winner on Rocket Labs RKLB. But anyways, guys, how's everybody doing? I hope you guys had a good day yesterday. We have a pretty decent day in store for earnings today. We have a couple earnings after the bell, including Wolfspeed and OKTA, I believe. And then tomorrow is the absolute big earnings, the thing that everybody's going to be watching, that I'm going to be watching, that you're going to be watching, that the entire markets are going to use as kind of a litmus test as far as what the condition and the state of the markets are like, okay? Because NVIDIA has earnings, okay? NVIDIA has earnings tomorrow. But you didn't ask for all that. You didn't even talk about that yet. I just started talking, which is fine. But first of all, I want to say a big thank you to all of you guys. You guys make this show possible. Thank you guys, all of you, for tuning in and day out. For those of you who watch the replays, for those of you who leave comments, everything, I really, really appreciate it. It means the absolute world to me that you would take time out of your day to come spend and visit with me and ask questions, which leads us to the good part, the good stuff. This is the Verified AMA, which stands for Ask Me Anything, where you ask questions, I give answers. Feel free, if you'd like to ask a question, you can scan this QR code down below or visit the verifiedinvesting.com website to submit your questions, right? With that being said, what are the questions you guys have for me today? Just take a look here. All right, let me go. Ooh, had a shiver. You know, sometimes it's cold and sometimes it's hot. There's just no in between. Yusuf is asking me to go over XRP. It's up almost 3% today. Yep, it is up almost 3% today. Indeed, but it has this beautiful head and shoulders pattern that it broke, and then you see it retrace to, favors a move lower. And yes, it's up 3% today, but I would say that this break of this is still a bearish formation. I still have the same analysis as I did yesterday, and that is that it broke this nice down upsloping trend line, this beautiful neckline on the head and shoulders pattern, retraced to it and favors a move lower. Now, is it going to fall all the way to 175? No, but I think realistically you can see a move down to the 240s. All right. Let's keep going. Marcus says, are we still bullish on Kane? It's broken a downtrend, but stuck at $11. I'm not, I don't really trade the commodities so much. Honestly, I'm not really one who trades these commodities. Down sloping trend line. This is the big trend line that I'm watching. See what else we got. You said that Kane broke a downtrend recently. Which downtrend are you talking about? I guess like this one. It's kind of hard to call that a real downtrend just because it's so limited, the amount of pivots. Wow, it is so cold in here. I think I'm dying. Let's see if I can find any parallels or we have anything good on the charts. Pardon me while I do some searching. Don't love that either. Well, regardless, we do have a couple. We have almost like a big wedge pattern. Right? If we connect these kind of levels, we have like a nice little wedge forming on the cane chart. Am I bullish on cane? See, it's down over 29% from its recent highs. And then from its lows in June, it's currently trading up 4%. I think it favors a move higher, but this chart doesn't speak to me as far as I need to get into it right now. Okay. But I also don't really trade commodities that often. So that's just full disclosure. So Nathan says, good morning, Lon. What's up? Nathan, what do the charts say about Ionic? So Ionic, on IONQ, right, had earnings a couple weeks ago, had this beautiful upsloping trend line. It broke down, right? It was this head and shoulders pattern up here. Sorry, I know this is really confusing. There's a lot of junk on my charts. Let me just delete some of this stuff. Okay, first things first. You had this head and shoulders pattern, very clear head and shoulders pattern. Let's find the measured move of that. This is the measured move essentially. And it did fulfill basically half of the measured move, over half of it with a retrace, right? But it gave us this beautiful upsloping trend line. Hit here, hit here, hit again here. And now it's retracing to it. For me on IONQ, I think my level of resistance, my shortable level today in particular on IONQ will be up here around $41.26. This trend line is a trend line that has provided support and resistance previously. I anticipate that it provides resistance again today. All right. Wes says teachable moment maybe. Can you talk about using the moving averages, 500, 100, 200 as an indicator? How do you use this as one of your factors when using a trade? So I don't use the S. So, okay, let's just do this. Simple moving average. So the way moving averages, let me just go to a random stock. I don't want to go there. Let's go to watch list. And let's remove our, I kind of like that actually. All right, let's remove our drawings, okay? So when you're using moving averages, 50, 100, 200, moving averages is just the average price over the past 200 days, right? And as you have a day below it, it slowly goes below it, a day above it, it stays above it. It goes higher. Does that make sense? For each day or bullet point, depending on what time frame you're looking at, where the price closes or is below the moving average, it's going to cause that moving average to go lower. Inversely, when it's higher, it'll go higher, right? So for me, I don't use it a whole lot when trading. We don't use it as much here at Verified Investing. I know Garrett does talk about it quite a bit in his course, right? But we talked about it yesterday. We don't really use the moving averages as much anymore. But in general, you could use it as a tool for areas that you anticipate a bounce, right? If the moving average is below, then you expect, I guess, a bounce. And if if price is below the moving average, you're favoring a move higher. If the moving average is below the price, you're favoring a move lower. Okay? If I can say that and that makes sense. but it's not really an indicator that I use a whole lot. But different traders have different things. There are like death crosses, which I believe that's when one of the moving averages goes above the other one. But there's tons of things out there, to be honest, Wes, and I'm not an expert in that. I'll just come on and be real with you. But that's what I think about moving averages. I think that they're valid, and I think they could be a very useful tool. They're just not part of my specific trading strategy at this time. Yeah. What else do we got here? Kian saying, "Hey Lawton, could you look at the ticker U and see if it's a good swing trade and what level should I target?" Thanks. So Energy Fuels is a smaller cap company. Let's see if it's at its lows. No, it was at its peak all the way up here, but let's use this peak. This is a recent high, more recent. This is from the 2010 year, I believe. See, I got an alert. That means SOX is coming down. But it's down about 85% from it. And it's got a big bounce here today off of a deal with Vulcan Elements, it says, to establish a domestic supply chain for earth mineral. So yeah, so this is something that's up on news. I'm not interested in, I don't like chasing things, right? The way I trade is it needs to come into my level, and I have to be very rigid and solid with my trading strategy. However, this is good news for the stock. It's been down a bit, but you have to know also that it's up over almost 300% from its Liberation Day lows without too much of a pullback, right? For me, I believe that this could if it came back and filled that gap, I would be interested in potentially starting a position long there. I'm going to give you my levels of support. So on the screen, you have a bunch of levels that I've just written. Those are levels that I'd be interested in either getting into positions or adding to my current position if I was already in. These are levels that I anticipate support on the quad U's. As far as levels of 1254, as far as levels of resistance, let's go ahead and look. I think levels of resistance are going to be here, like this level of resistance up here. This is basically a question of how high could it go. So these are my levels of resistance on levels of support and resistance. So you can take a picture, Kian, and this is how I would likely trade this stock. Javier says, could you please explain gaps? When a gap is considered to be filled, is it based on opening, closing prices of intraday prices? Great question, Javier, and good news for you. I use gaps all the time. So let's check it out. Let's talk about SMCI, shall we? So this is a stock that I've traded a decent bit of time that we've traded here. And I want you to look at the chart. And you see, where do you think the gaps are? This is a gap. Why is this a gap? Because price closed here and open here. So if there is a distance between where price closed one day and opened the next day, that creates what's called a gap, right? And a gap is filled, for example, like here. Let's say we only had, let's go, oh, that's kind of cool. Where did I want to go? Okay, let's look at this, okay? And this is a replay. Pretend you didn't see this bar here, okay? This thin bar here. You only saw price closed here and opened up here, all right? The top of the green candles are where the price closes. The top of the red candles are where the price opens. Okay, so it closed at 44.47, and the next trading day it opened at 45.72, about 3% higher. That's a gap up. It gapped up. Now, when a gap is filled, is when price comes down and fills that gap or moves below that gap fill. So the price of the previous day, 44.45, all right, at any point in time for the very first time. Okay. That's the feeling. Oh, and I'm supposed to let you guys know this is a teachable moment. I'm so sorry to the production team. But this was a teachable moment. And we'll keep going. We'll make it even better, right? I will make it even better for you. You see this gap? It gapped up here, right? Opened here and continued to push higher. And you look at this gap and you see, well, I don't see any candles that are touching it. But what if I told you that that gap has already been filled? You might think to yourself, what do you mean that gap hasn't been filled? I don't see price hitting it. Well, price is below it. And price gapped down past it. So even if it gaps over it, that's considered a gap fill. Because price closed here and opened here, it still filled this gap. So now the next gap, unfilled gap on SMCI to the upside, right? The next one is up here from earnings. They see this big gap. SMCI needs to move up 30% to fill that gap. To the downside, you see here, price closed down here and opened up here and never got filled. So that means there is a valid gap fill down here, basically just under $41. All right. Please let me know if that makes sense, Javier. But that is essentially what a gap fill is in a nutshell. Wes says, one more teachable moment. No problem, Wes. Thank you, as always, for your questions and comments, Wes. Really appreciate it. For a head and shoulders pattern, does it really need to be the highest point in recent history, or can you have it at a midpoint or lower point in recent history too? Does it just affect probabilities? No, it doesn't have to be the recent history, right? As long as there's a head and shoulders pattern, it's fine. Like, let's take a look here. Okay, you see here, price was higher over here. This is intraday, okay? But regardless, there is still a valid, even though it's not great, head and shoulders pattern. Still a valid head and shoulders pattern, even though this armpit's kind of small, right? Still valid. But pretend it's bigger. This is still a valid head and shoulders pattern. Head, shoulder, head, shoulder. Still valid, even though price was literally above it right here. Was literally above it, earlier today, this morning. It's still valid. 100% still valid. What else do we got? Pratik says, hello, Lon. Good morning. Hello, Pratik. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. What's your thought on Roku stock? Have a lot of thoughts. Maybe none of them make sense. And I just want to take a look at stocks really quick. I hope you guys don't mind as my chart begins to load. That 664 level was my level to enter a long on stocks for a day trade. And see, it's working out decently right now. I didn't give it to you guys, of course, because you guys aren't day traders, but also because I can't focus on it. But nice to see that level worked out, that I still got it. Saw that alert earlier. So for Roku, for me on Roku, I have this beautiful kind of upsloping trend line. we're in kind of like this upsloping trend here. Don't love it. It's not perfect, but Roku is so beaten down from its highs, about 80% lower, but from its lows back in April, Liberation Day lows, we're up 82%. So the question is, how high could Roku go? How high could you go? That's a great question, right? That's a great question. My resistance, this major level of resistance, and I know it's quite a bit ways away, but was the high of this year, about 104.90, basically where I went to after earnings. If it can reach that level, I think there's significantly more upside. But that's about 10% higher. For me on Roku again has moved up significantly, 80%, pulled back 16% off of earnings and marched higher, right? That's still not enough of a pullback. I think that this move up has been catastrophic. Not catastrophic, just immense, right? So I think it does favor a pullback, but it could be putting in some bullish consolidation. Let's see. It just sits here for a couple of days, particularly if it goes like this. You could see a move higher, or you could see a move higher. It doesn't have earnings until 2 months from now, but yeah, let's see how KDP is doing. Turn on our VWAP. Okay, next chart. Jordan says, hey, good morning. What up, Jordan? What's going on? Hope you're doing well today. Would you be able to look in the SoFi charts and your thoughts? I would be delighted to. SoFi crushing all levels of support and all levels of resistance. This thing is just a beast. Where does it want to go? Up here. It wants to go to double top. 28.18. That's my max upside. It was the high all-time highs for this chart. Everything is moving towards all-time highs anyways, so they're like, why don't we just go up to 28, 27 anyways? Again, that would be an additional 8% higher. But for me, that's my max upside. It's crushing all the other levels of resistance, although this could be putting in a nice reversal signal if we were to close right here. Could be the start of a pullback. Particularly if you can break back below this upsloping trend line. That would be very good for the stock. If you're currently shorting this, that's what you want to see. Now, if I draw some trend lines, let's say, for example, I take this to, that one doesn't work. Like something like this, a trend line like this. Now, it's not the best trend line, but depending on how long SoFi takes, they could coincide. That trend line could coincide with that double top all-time high of SoFi and be a two-factor trade for you to short that thing, favoring a downside move. Yes, I think this thing favors a move to the downside, but the question is where. And if I knew that, I would be a genie. Nick says, what's up, Nick? How's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. Thoughts on ARM? Yeah, ARM Holdings, it's a semiconductor. It's had quite the move up, right? It moved up over 100% off of the Liberation Day lows, but it's still currently trading down about 26% from its highs. For me, here's what I see, and I absolutely love this pattern right now on ARM. Potential, formation. Now, you just got to be careful because it's only the formation of it. Nothing's confirmed yet, but a potential head and shoulders pattern, inverse, shoulder, head. Now we just got to see a shoulder, right? And if, let's say, that plays out, that does play out, let's see that measured move on that thing. Would be a move higher, approximately 11 or 12%, which is what you want to see on ARM. But it makes sense if you're bullish. Support at 130, I could see that. And target is 150 to 160. Yeah, just right in this range that I have that inverse headed shoulders, measured move. We just want to see the formation, the rest of the formation of that right shoulder, of that right inverse shoulder on ARM. Mar says, "Hey Lon, how's this nice day? Stubborn markets, right? Yeah, brother. These markets are just kind of sleepy. Like if you look at the S&P, it's not moving a whole lot. Look how big these other candles are. Not a lot of price action, right? Like the spread, the width of this is like $2. Not a lot of moves here in the markets today. But there are always charts moving. Charts are always moving. There's always something to trade. You just got to find them. Brandon says, "Hi, Lon. Thoughts on QBTS? Currently in an upsloping parallel. Let's see. Okay. I see your parallel. Essentially something like this. Yeah, I love this parallel. Wow. You rarely see parallels as pretty as this one. Or as perfect as this one. This is great. This looks bearish. I am bearish on this stock just off of this parallel channel. Down move, sideways consolidation favors a move lower. And how do you enter on this trade? Should this happen? Well, everyone say it with me. You can enter on a break or a retrace to the bottom of that upsloping trend line, right? That's a wonderful upsloping parallel. So this makes me bearish on QBTS. Great find. Really, really great find. Gabe says, "Hi, Lon. Is the bear flag on platinum?" Okay. Taking too long to play out. Is there a certain length of time until probably is diminished on a bear flag? There is, right? You don't want this to get longer than the flagpole, which it's getting there, but it doesn't matter. I'm not interested in that. I don't mind that the bear flag is getting overextended, right? There is an upsloping parallel channel now. So if we can break this on platinum, I'm favoring a move down at least 10%. Gabe. Pavlina says, "Ready to short SoFi double top." 28.30. I'll be there. Yep. 28.30. 28.27 is the double top, but close enough. Jeffrey J. Jewett quadruple J. What's up? JJJJ. What's up? Hi, Lon. Great call on holding on. NEO has been surging higher. Absolutely. Thanks for taking that trade. Look at this thing, though. Look at this thing. Look how bullish it is. I was saying NEO looks so good. Look at this. Down sloping trend line. Broke out of it. Absolutely exploded. Up 37%. If you took that, congratulations. I totally forgot. I talked about that. Quad J. But great job. Do you see more upside on its current run, or will this be a good time to take profits and buy back in a lower level? If so, what lower levels do you see it as? I do believe NEO has upside long term. I as well, but would like to swing trade on the way up while managing risk. My average is 479. Amazing job! Wow, 479. That's so great. 40%. Congratulations. I'll be real with you. This is what I would do. And you don't have to do as I do. Definitely don't do as I say. Here's what I would do if I had that amazing average. I would take some off, to be honest. I'd take some off for profit. Dude, 40% profit, where are you going to find that? Nowhere else. I would do that, and if it pulled back here, I'd add to my position. But I'd let the rest run, right? I'd take some off here for 40% profit, and then the rest of it I'd target up here about 770. I take the rest off around 770. I do believe in this company's potential for the future. I think this could be like a $60 company in the future, but we have to, when we're up 40% in a position, they take the money, take some of it at least. All right. No problem, Kian. Thanks for your questions. About Solana, Mar says, having just a bounce up, or how high do I reckon it could go? Well, it did have this beautiful inverse head and shoulders, and it did move about 75-ish% of the way up. So, so great if you took that trade. Now I'm waiting for another pattern to emerge. I think it's going to bounce off this down-sloping trend line, but it's already hit that move. So unlikely it'll have another move like that. But if you see this downward sideways consolidation, it's bearish. But let's give it a couple more days more. It's hard for me to say because it just pretty much fulfilled the inverse head and shoulders pattern. I don't have too much on this chart yet. Gabe says, can you look at ASCS? Yes, I can. Bullish or bearish for the next few weeks? So ASCS had this beautiful head and shoulders pattern, and it retraced and is coming back higher. I'm still bearish. I have to be bearish. Yeah, it's creating the highs. I'm bearish the next couple of weeks, although it is breaking this down-sloping trend line. It's struggling to. It hasn't broken up from this down-sloping trend line yet, almost forming like a kind of a wedge pattern, a pseudo wedge pattern. But I have to, if you're forcing me into bullish or bearish over the next couple of weeks, I have to say bearish. But again, I tell you this all the time. I've been wrong before. I'm wrong all the time. I've been wrong today probably. But all I can do is come to you and give you the probabilities, right? Nothing is for sure in this world except for death and taxes. Yusuf says, could you take a look at the silver chart? Absolutely. Let's take a look at silver. I haven't looked at silver in a hot minute. This, you have kind of this upsloping trend line that silver is not broken yet. For me, I think silver favors a move lower, but it needs to break some of these. There are so many beautiful upsloping trend lines on silver here. Lots of trend lines that it could break. I think it favors a move lower, but you got to see a break of these trend lines, a solid break, and then I'm going to target somewhere around here for a bounce. Now, this is a big move for silver, 15%, but that's where I happen to believe it's likely to go. David says, hi, Lon. What's up, David? What do you think about Reddit? On the daily, we have a trend line. Okay, let's take a look. RDDT. Reddit. Oh, my favorite. April 9th. Okay. April 9th. May 1st. Okay. So this trend line. Nice. I see it. Do I expect it to pull back to 194, which is where that would go to? Hard to say, right? It's hard to know exactly where it's likely to get a bounce. You could target, there should be support down here. But yeah, this trend line would be the area you'd likely see a bounce. But look at that. If we can come down 188 and this trend line where it could come down, I target somewhere around here, probably higher to be honest. But and this is something important to remember. When you draw trend lines, It's not stable. It's not on a flat level. Gap fill is a gap fill. Double top is a double top. Fib retrace is a fib retrace. It is what it is. Right? Those don't necessarily change. But trend lines, as it takes longer to play out, the price of where you're expected to get a bounce or a fall or pullback will move up or down based on the slope of that trend line. I like this trend line, but yeah, somewhere around here between 194 and 205 should be a good bounce depending on when it hits. Javier says, hi, Lon. Thanks for explaining. That was very clear. Thank you so much for asking your question, Javier. Mar says, can you compare gap fills with fair value caps? Is there a difference between stocks and crypto? You can use them with stocks and crypto. It's just the thing is crypto doesn't really have gaps because it trades 24 hours a day, right? Like it doesn't have any gaps on the chart because it's 24 hours. However, you can put areas where there's a lot of consolidation, but there are like not really any gap fills on cryptocurrency, right? Mar says, Garrett says one candle can't be a shoulder. Ha, can he be wrong? Yeah, you're not supposed to use one candle as a shoulder. Not really. I think I just used that as an example. Pratik says, thank you for analysis. You're welcome, Pratik. Thank you for your questions. Let's go a little bit quicker here, huh? Because I'm running out of time. 8 minutes. I always run out of time, and I got to be on the trading room, and I got to eat lunch. Am I going to have time to eat lunch? No, I'm not going to have time to eat lunch. But I want to at least answer some more of your questions. Pablina says, thank you so much on SoFi. You pretty much confirmed what I was looking at. Awesome. Thanks. Tyler says, hey, any word on Chipotle Mexican Grill? What's the word? Chipotle Mexican Grill. I am buying down here at this gap for 41.68. I like it for a move higher. That's where I'm buying. And I'm likely going to go add to my position. Down here around 36.13. There's another gap fill from 2023. Right? These are levels that I anticipate a bounce, but I'm a buyer at this beautiful gap fill down here around 41.50-ish on Chipotle Mexican Grill with an ad level around $36. All right. In fact, I'll put an alert right now so you guys know I'm serious on that gap fill. Derek says, I'll be honest, second day in the room, first trade with G-Man. I brought him down. I don't want to be the guy in the movie. Cool. Nah, you'll be fine, Derek. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully you took Drew and my trade in the live day trading room today. But let's have this flip around and work out in our favor. I mean, the news wasn't even bad on Keurig Dr. Pepper. I think it's just a momentum play right now. Keurig Dr. Pepper, so they bought out a company, and then Keurig and Dr. Pepper are going to split, which makes sense because it's Keurig and Dr. Pepper, but I anticipate a bounce. I mean, our average is somewhere around here, so we just need to pierce the $30, so which is easily feasible. If you look, this thing is definitely oversold and due for a bounce. Hello, John. Can you look at UNH? I know, I see it. I know it's kind of finicky, right? Every time you press enter, right, it like submits your message. So thanks for dealing with that, John. Thanks for your question. Let's take a look at UNH, huh? UNH, it's just consolidating here. For now, as I move higher or lower, I mean, if Warren Buffett likes it, I like it. My target is around 326. There's a nice gap fill here. Warren Buffett invested in there, so again, if it's good enough for Warren, it's good enough for me, right? Who am I to go against the mastermind of trading? But 325, 326, yeah, I'm looking for a move there. Gabe says, thanks, Lawton. Let me know if that makes sense, John. Thanks, Lawton. Gabe says, is ICHR, okay, due for a bounce? Okay, Gabe. I'm going to say a couple things. I'm going to say yes. You have a beautiful downsloping trend line, downsloping pattern. clearly wants to break out of it. If it can break out of it, it can move higher, at least 14%. But I'm going to try a new thing. This is called the risk radar. That's just one of my prompts. I don't even know what that means. But even though I think ICHR favors a move to the upside, I am going to say something to you, okay, to all of you. Let's go back there for a second. Hold on. And I'll come back here. ICHR, look at that market cap, $600 million market cap. I personally really try not to trade anything. Really try not to trade anything under 1 billion market cap, anything under 1.5 billion market cap, because that's so dangerous to trade. Right? I want to show you something. This move, there's a 50% move in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trading days. In 7 trading days, you have a 50% move, which is great. You can make tons of money. Tons of money. But let's look the other way. 1, 2, 3. Let's look at 7 days the other direction. You can lose 23% of your money. Now, this is earnings. This is an outlier. This is earnings. But you can lose 23% of your money in 6 days. Super volatile. If you play these things, you have to play with a stop. You have to play with a stop loss. You have to go lighter in your position size. Guys, when I'm out here trading, when you're out here trading, when you want to be a profitable trader, okay? Wins are great. I love winning. You can ask the old ladies on the pickleball court that I love winning more than anything else, right? But it doesn't matter how much you win. If when you lose and you put your money into a stock like this that's so small and it comes down so fast and so quickly, your gains, everything you've worked towards, the money, the hours you've put into it gets absolutely eliminated by trading a stock as volatile and as risky as this. So does ICHR favor a move to the upside? Due to my technical analysis, the chart looks bullish, but I would never trade this because it is too risky for me. I'm more of a conservative trader, and I believe that small, consistent wins over time add up, stack up, and can not only lead to more longevity, but a more profitable trader overall. So if you want to trade this, go ahead, but go small and put a stop out level. For me, if I wanted to enter it right now, I think it could go higher. I would stop out right, probably $1.50 lower. About $1.50 lower, because it's not worth it to me. I need to have a good risk to reward ratio. I'm risking 8 or 9% to make 14%. Okay? Which is a decent risk to reward ratio. Derek says, Bank of Ho. Bank it. John says, yes, makes sense. We're on the same page. Awesome, John. Glad you could understand that, UNH. Kian says, great tips for ICHR market cap. Thank you so much. Learning new things from you every day. Thank you, Kian, for being here so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks to all of you guys for being here. If you enjoy this content, and this is the first time that I think I'm going to be able to close on time for forever. But anyways, if you enjoy this content, if you like this show, thank you so much. Please considering liking this, sharing with your friends, subscribing to us on YouTube. Again, guys, my name is Lawton Ho here with Verified Investing. I do this every single day. Awesome. Thanks, V. Thanks for tuning in again. Glad to see you're back. If you have more questions for me, guys, you can either wait until tomorrow to ask them, or just if you want, you can send them to me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Lawton Investing. My name followed by the word investing. All right. with that being said, nice to see you again, Brucey. Thanks for being here. With that being said, guys, have a great rest of your day. Best of luck trading. Be careful out there. Have a great day, guys, and I hope to see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye-bye. Hey guys, Lawton here with Verified Investing, and today I'm here to talk about Kinesis.money, our sponsor. Thank you to Kinesis for sponsoring us. So Kinesis has this awesome thing called yields, in which you can literally earn gold by just performing different activities on their website and their platform. So the first way that you can earn on Kinesis.money is through their holders yield. So basically what that is if you buy some KAG or KAU from them, which is basically equivalent to gold or silver, they're one-to-one crypto equivalent of gold and silver, you're able to collect money from them, right? A percentage of all of the fees that Kinesis takes over transactions, over buying KAU, KAG, or anything else is distributed to people that hold on to KAG and KAU. So super cool. Now, velocity. The velocity spending is also really cool. So if you spend KAU or KAG, you're actually going to get a percentage of all the fees. Again, this is of all the fees that Kinesis takes relative to how much you use Kinesis. So this is things from going to the grocery store and buying things on your Kinesis card. This are things like buying KAG, KAU, sending it to someone else. And finally, it's the same thing as trading on their platform, right? If you do any of those things, you qualify for this velocity yield. The next awesome way that you can earn with Kinesis is through the referrers yield. So if you refer any friends, family, you'll get a percentage of all of their transactions in perpetuity, which is super cool. They also have a partner for a program for partners and minters. But what I really want to focus on is this KBT, the most exciting part of Kinesis for me. 20% of all of the shares of all the transaction fees that happen on Kinesis are going to be distributed to holders of the KBT crypto token. There's a limited amount of crypto supply, but that's a really cool way to actually own part of Kinesis. You can get in on the ground level and just hold those tokens and collect a nice return. Thank you so much to Kinesis for sponsoring this video, and go check out their website at Kinesis.money.